So welcome to this edition in the quoted album. This is the page where you can see I've added in the previous quotes, but that first inside page is where I am going to begin the growth, not perfection stamped spread that was shown on my social media. So this is the 6x8 Destination Alpha stamp set from HeidiSwapShop.com. And really, you can use any alphabet stamp that you have for this page. I just chose this stamp randomly. It kind of jumped out at me, and I thought it would be great for this quote that I want to add in the book. So once I have my line guide for my stamping, I am going to grab these butterflies. These are the Flutter Tim Holtz set, a great set I've had forever. And these are essentially going to start building my background. The page that I am putting the stamping on is quite plain, and I just want to add some design to the back. Again, I encourage you to look in your stash and see what you could have. You may have your own butterflies. You may have florals, greenery. That's the tattered rose that I'm going to start with. Again, I just picked a color that was kind of a soft neutral, somewhat coordinated with the background. I'm just going to apply the ink to my stamp, and again, I don't really stress too much about the technicality part of this. It's all about freedom of expression and creating and just letting your heart guide the way. So you can see that I just lightly stamped the butterfly. Sometimes I like to do a double stamp so that I get a less of a saturation. But I see on that wing, because I did an offset, it went a little dark. So we'll just go in and double stamp it, fix it up. Again, I really don't want to worry about doing things perfectly in this book. I believe this is more of just a creative exercise and a way to get the ideas flowing and just have fun experimenting with supplies and different ideas, but having a home for all the blood, sweat, and tears that go into creating, because it does take a lot of work, and it's intentional time spent, and we all want to create stuff that we're happy with in the end. So that is pretty much the way I approach these things. So we're just mixing it up. And again, I chose butterflies. You could choose flowers. You could choose a different type of butterfly, greenery, foliage, symbols, distressed backgrounds. The idea is really limitless when it comes to this. And again, no plan, no rhythm, no rhyme. I am just going for it. And that is probably my biggest piece of encouragement I can offer you when you're approaching your stamping, is to just go for it. Just have fun, play. This project of mine is something that I just want to have kind of as like a journey, a creative journey, things that were inspiring me at the time. And I just was thinking it would be nice to finally have a home for all these pages that I'm going to create, which is why the back-to-back binding works wonderful, because it is super easy to continue adding my pages together. So now that I have my base background done, I am going to add in another type of butterfly stamp I have. These are also from the Heidi Swap shop. She has had these for a while. So I'm just going to add in a few of these. I think I chose which color is that? The Lost Shadow, to add another muted neutral in the background. You can kind of see a little bit of it is not exactly the true color, because I am going to admit that I am horrible when it comes to cleaning my stamps. Again, I don't know if I'm a sloppy crafter or I just don't have the time, but again, I don't really clean my stamps too often. I'm getting better at it, but again, I really am okay with the color blending. It doesn't stress me out too much. But next, I'm using the Distress Oxide tea dye to layer atop the Lost Shadow. I'm really liking the kind of vintage feel that I find this page has brought to life, which is funny, again, because that's not really the intention or was my direction, but honestly, when it comes to creating, I don't have a plan. I just let it go and see what comes to life. So now that I primarily have my background page the way I want it, it's going to be time to start adding in the text and start layering atop the butterflies. So again, here are the 6x8 Destination Alpha set from the Heidi Swapp shop. And any stamp, alpha stamp will work for this. That's just the one I chose from my stash. I have tons from Studio Calico, Ellie Edwards, Tim Holtz, but those were just the lucky winners. So again, I'm going to start with the tea dye, and I am going to begin with the quote, "Growth, not perfection." One of the best tips that I've learned by taking some of Heidi Swapp's stamp classes is to really get a nice coverage on your stamp by pouncing it multiple times on the stamp pad. It will give a nice even color and it just looks gorgeous. How does that look? Love it. Next, I'm just going to take my white eraser and gently remove those pencil lines that I made at the beginning. Again, they were just a basic guide so that I could get a somewhat straight stamp text. Not being too picky here, but it just helps me as I go along. So next up, I'm going to take these Blue Sky Alphas. This is the 4x6 set, also Heidi Swapp shop, to add a little variety to my text. So I'm just going to stamp out the word "not" using alphas from this collection. Now I will do the same stamping like I did before with the Destination Alpha and finish it off with the word "perfection" in the tea dye ink. So now for one of my most favorite parts, blending. I love using this Tim Holtz blending tool, and I'm going to use the tea dye ink, same color as the stamp text, to add a really nice basic coverage and kind of blend the whole page together. When I am using the blending tool and Distress Oxide inks, I really find less is more. It's great to make sure you have a craft mat underneath. As you can see, I am using, this one is the Heidi Swapp shop one. It is a great size, but it also catches the ink that is going to be off the page, and it's easily removable and keeps my work center fairly clean. So as you can see, I am simply doing a rounded motion blending, starting from the corner and working my way down. I don't really approach this with any sort of technique in mind or perfectionist route. I just simply blend until I'm satisfied. Again, I'm just applying in a circular motion the ink to the stamp or to the blending pad. And again, starting from the corner and working my way up. I find, again, less product is more, and I really love using as much as I can from my application to give that really nice blended aged look. It is such a nice way to use up white space and to add more color and fill to a page. So I think it's turning out quite nice. Well, I think that's come together really nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm using this premium dye ink. It's my favorite ink from scrapbook.com. And I think I want to add a little bit of pop to my quote. So like I always seem to do after the fact, I'm going to add a little shadow effect and add my stamps back on top to give them a little bit of pop and boldness. You can kind of see the drop shadow that appears from the initial tea dye ink, and I really, really love this effect. And again, this black ink is probably my most favorite. I highly recommend it. It works beautiful with acrylic stamps. It is so sharp, so bold, and it's just a very great choice of a black ink. So there you go. It really helps the quote. And again, I love the black ink effect. I love making my text different colors and using color to enhance and make certain words stand out. So now to add in the beautiful new June agenda from Heidi Swapp. The theme for this month is create, and I absolutely adore this set. I know I'm going to get tons of use out of it, and I could not wait to add it into my journal page, especially with the quote I chose, as well as with the butterflies. I feel like it all just is meant to be, and I'm really excited to start playing with this set. This is actually the first time I've played with it. So again, no plan here. I am grabbing the Distress Oxide Tattered Rose. I'm going to start with the word create, and I'm going to just take it and stamp it over the word growth. And just, yeah, just going for it. I love the muted tone. And then I think one of my favorite techniques, yep, I'm not done. I'm going to add a even more muted create on top to give it a little bit of a shadowed ombre effect. So just another way to get a lot of use out of your stamps. Try repetition and multiple stamping. It is a great way to achieve fun backgrounds and different little results. So again, one of my favorite pieces found in the agendas are usually little typed sentiments, and I love the created to create, again, using the tattered rose. So many options that fit with this page, and I just adore it. Which one is next here? Oh, the beautiful handwritten creativity. So here I am going to add it first using the tea dye, and I just kind of went for it. I really didn't care where I put it. I just wanted to get it down on the page. I thought that looked great, so we'll just leave it there. And then you know me in the black, we're gonna drop shadow this for a fun effect. Again, I don't know how it's gonna look, but I think that's primarily the point of this, is just to go for it. And I love the result. It is so pretty. That is probably one of my favorite handwritten words. And yeah, I just love how it's coming together. And my second love, obviously, are the definitions. So I'm just going to shadow stamp some of those to kind of blend into the background and fill up some of that negative space. A great way to use those definitions. I love, love, love the definitions. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more detail in black. And where do I want to put this? Let's put it right. See, this is how sometimes it is. You just don't know and then you just go for it. Okay, let's try it over the word create. Why don't we? And to be honest, I think it looks really great there. You can see how I honestly just go for it. I don't have a plan, but I love the combination of playing and experimenting and learning my stamps and playing with different ink colors to create something that is truly from the heart. And I think that is the best way to create. I know it helps to bring in fresh energy and inspire me for future projects. So I really have been adoring this process, and I'm so glad that I can share this with you. And hopefully, it will encourage you and inspire you and motivate you to dig in more into your stash. And just like the stamp says, just start, because you never know. I really, really am happy with this piece. And the thing is, I don't know if it's done, but for right now, I think my heart is pretty content with where this is at. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how this all came together so far. So now let's see how this looks once we open up our book. There you have the finished product. And then there are the other two pages, and there, of course, is more than enough room to continue to add more. So I am excited to continue to play and add to this journal, and I hope that you would love to join me in creating your own quoted stamped notebook that maybe by the end of the year or this time next year will be filled with beautiful stamped pages and affirmations and quotes and words and ideas and things that you can reflect on that bring you a lot of encouragement and joy and confidence into your creating and stamping journey. It's so much fun to play. I love it. Thanks for watching, everyone.